Well, let's get the perspective now of Kurt Volker. He is the former US ambassador to NATO and special representative to Ukraine in negotiations from 2017 to 2019. He joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Good to have you with us. To begin with, significant developments with tonight, the first time in decades that the US has deployed a carrier and strike force under NATO control. Jens Stoltenberg saying that this is proportionate. What does this then tell us about the concrete and imminent risk of a Russian invasion?
Well, I think this is important to reassure allies in the East that they are not vulnerable. So NATO's first mission is collective defense under Article 5 of the NATO Treaty. And by committing forces, as many countries are doing now, including the United States, it is meant to send a signal to all NATO allies that they can be assured of their security and a warning to Russia not to attack NATO. The reason to do this, however, is exactly as you say. It is Russia's massive military presence that it has put in and around Ukraine, extending that also now even into Belarus and also into the Black Sea. So the risks of a Russian invasion are actually quite real.
You talk about it being a symbol of reassurance then to those eastern states that they're not alone. But if Russia does invade, will NATO send troops onto the ground to defend Ukraine militarily?
Yeah, both President Biden and NATO as an alliance have made clear that it is not their intention to put NATO ground forces into Ukraine to fight Russia. They are, however, providing security assistance and equipment and trainers to the Ukrainians so that the Ukrainians can better defend themselves. And I think those efforts have escalated in the last week or so as well, including with equipment being transferred from the Baltic states, from Poland, from the Czech Republic, from the UK to Ukraine, as well as from the United States to Ukraine, in order to help improve the armaments of the Ukrainian military in the event Russia does invade.
Well, talking about efforts then on both sides, Russia observers will be quick to point out, they will say that Putin courts chaos, that this is part of his brinkmanship. We've already seen complicated discussions between EU member states over their response. Has there already been some seeds of chaos which have been sown by Putin?
Well, this has been all manufactured by Putin from the beginning. He's the one who put these massive military forces in and around Ukraine. Remember, he's already taken pieces of Ukraine, Crimea, and parts of eastern Donbass in 2014 and 2015. He has placed extraordinary demands upon the United States and NATO, essentially to recognize that Russia has a sphere of influence, including Ukraine, and to roll back, commit to no further NATO enlargement and roll back NATO military deployments to allied territories. It is as if the countries and the people in Central and Eastern Europe don't exist. It is Russia making demands about itself over the heads of all of those people who live in these countries and seek to be secure and seek to live in freedom.
Pastor's prologue then, Ambassador, if I may, from your experience, what is likely to happen next and what should NATO do about it?
Well, I think NATO has been clear that it is prepared to defend allies, but it leaves Ukraine in a kind of a gray zone. And I think Putin will take advantage of that gray zone as he did before, as he did in 2014 by seizing Crimea. So I think we're likely to see a very aggressive and swift move by Russia in the coming weeks to take parts of Ukrainian territory and then to stop again and then draw a new ceasefire line inside Ukraine.
All right. Kurt Volker, former US ambassador to NATO, thanks so much for being with us and for your valuable insights.